Here we go again. Here we go again. The Chicago Bears lose yet another game. How many? Is this like, I think it's like 12, 13, 14 games straight we've lost? You know, it's only 2 games into the season. 2 games into the goddamn season. And I'm already effing done with this crap that I'm watching on my television screen. 10 for 15, back at it with another video for you guys. Talking Chicago Bears football. Jolly me, because I made the business decision to be a Chicago Bears fan. I could have been a fan of any other team in the NFL, not named the Green Bay Packers. And lo and behold, I'm a Bears fan. Yeah, when I have a kid, I'm going to tell them, don't be a Bears fan. Go be a fan of any other team except the Green Bay Packers. Anybody else other than the Green Bay Packers, you can be a fan of team. You can be a fan of. Shit, I might as well join on the bandwagon with you. So what are my thoughts on the game today? Outside of that first offensive series, and then the series where Justin Fields threw the touchdown pass to Chase Claypool, that was it. Everything else was absolutely bad. Again, my co-host, my Uncle Daryl, he got called into work, so he could not join me on this video for a second straight week. Honestly, I might as well tell him, don't show up for the Kansas City Chiefs recap. Man, I'll see if we can fit in some video to where we talk more after, fallout from this game and everything and how bad, so then you guys can get his take on the situation. But holy hell, man. Holy hell. You think there's going to be differences. You think there's going to be changes. And there's not. There is no change. There is nothing different. This team exactly looks the exact same way. And in some cases, worse than how they looked last year. So AKA, they have regressed beyond belief. The quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 2 Justin Fields jerseys in my freaking in my closet, literally right next to me. 2 Justin Fields jerseys. The old school white jersey, and then the one I was wearing last week, which was my Navy jersey. Unless he turns it around and somehow gets it freaking going, he's not the guy. I don't want to admit that. And if you go back, way back, if you go to my main channel when I started doing Bears content, my main channel, which is where I just talk about typical TV, anime, and stuff like that. But like week 7, when we played the Saints in the 2019 season, I believe it was week 7, where I saw freaking Mitch Trubisky play, that's when I knew he wasn't the guy. That's when I knew he wasn't the guy. Because he didn't take that next step. He wasn't doing what needed to be done. And I was just frustrated. And I'm only 2 games into the season. And again, who knows? Things can play out. Justin Fields can play better. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, Bears fans alike, he ain't looking like the guy. He's not looking like the guy. He's now in Mitch Trubisky territory now. And what I mean by that is this. He doesn't trust any of the receivers. He doesn't trust his offensive line. The play calling doesn't help him out, and it's making him do things that, for all intents and purposes, he shouldn't be doing. The Bears have the most talented quarterback in their history drafted 2 seasons ago. And he's already ruined beyond belief. I can already see his confidence is shaken. He's done. He's mentally and probably physically broken now. So out there, he's probably just going through the motions and running through the play calls. This game, last week, multiple Bear fans, media, and fans alike on YouTube said, we should get Justin Fields on the run some more. Some play action passing. Some running plays for him. You know, last week they were also saying we also need to throw the damn ball down the field. Well, clearly, Luke Getsy got the memo this week to an extent. And yes, to an extent, Justin Fields threw the ball down the field more than he did last week. But the only problem with that is, it's seemingly enough, I don't know what they coached this kid up to do. Well, I said it to say kid. He's no older than I am. We're literally the same age. I don't know what throughout the practice week they did, but it's like they relegated this guy to stay in the goddamn pocket. There was too many instances in this game alone. Justin Fields had the time. He had the time against this very stout Buccaneers defense. He had all the time. And again, just like a few times last week, if you look at the all-22, he missed receivers that are open, and he is not pulling the goddamn trigger. He took... And then in the 1 second quarter, when they dropped after the punt block, no, not after the punt block. I think it was after the kick or something like that. It was one of those drives in the second quarter. They were driving, and because of it, they ended up forced back into kicking a field goal. There was two times Justin Fields, or not just 2 times, a few times where Justin Fields is snapping. He's holding the ball. The offensive line gives him ample enough time to block. As they're blocking their guys, he's holding on there. He's holding. He's looking. Down goes Justin Fields. And again, you have guys like frickin' DJ Moore, who they actually made him involved in the offense from the jump. Right then and there. Good. DJ Moore out in the flats, wide open. Fields took another sack where DJ Moore was running across the middle of the field. Fields, for some reason, doesn't see him or doesn't pull the trigger, and he takes a sack because he's holding the ball too long. And DJ Moore's like, hey, dude, come on, throw me the ball. Holding onto the ball too long. Made a terrible throw to Claypool on one of the frickin' third downs and almost got picked off. And then that screen pass. That was just an awful throw. I don't know why you throw that. Now, that's a bad throw by Fields. He can't make that throw. I'll talk about Getsy in a second. But, ladies and gentlemen, he's broken. He's broken. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it. This leads him to coaching staff. They don't play to his strengths. They don't do what is best within Fields. They don't get him out of the run. They don't get him under center, run play action. They don't run him. I don't know. They clearly told him, stay in the pocket and throw. Just stay in the pocket and throw. Because you saw the hesitancy in him wanting to run or pass. And you could see, okay, he's holding the ball too long. Shit, just take it and run. I don't care. Take it and run. Even if you miss a receiver, and we go look at the all-22 this week, and, oh, there's a guy wide open. Fields should have thrown it, but he ran the ball. I don't know what they went going into this week. They clearly coached this guy up, Fields up, to throw the ball down the field. That's fine. But because of that, you basically probably told him, stay in the damn pocket. Don't move, don't leave, stay in the pocket and find somebody. And that is not playing to his strengths. He has the arm and the legs. But no, the Bears want to turn him into a pocket passer when he's not at that moment in his career yet. Make things easy for him. Put him on the run. Put him on the move with the throwing. And if you run him and he's throwing it, I'm telling you, it's going to help him. It's going to make the defense loosen up a bit and be like, okay, we might need to actually start to play a little bit more man defense compared to sitting back in a zone. But no, the Bears don't do that. The coaching staff does not want to do that. They believe we need to make him a pocket passer. If he can't help us in the passing game, well then we won't do other things that make him special. And they're harming him. And now because of it, his confidence is probably at an all-time low. He's broken, and there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing he can do. Nothing I can do. The only thing he can do is he has to play better. Now listen, Fields did not play a good game today. Again, he did not play good. He did not play good. He looks exactly like the Fields last season, where he's very inconsistent in terms of passing the ball. He barely can get over to 200 yards passing a game. He's indecisive. He can't make quick throws. He's not seeing the field somewhat correctly. And then you have it to where a few plays, there you go. He looks like what we think he should be. He looks like we think, and then you have other plays where he's just head scratching and you're like, my goodness, what the hell, man? With the exception of like Braxton Jones, really, who hasn't had a good start to this season, the offensive line to an extent played pretty well. Well enough. I can honestly play a lot better than they did last week. So he had the time. He just wasn't letting it rip to an extent, or he wasn't taking off and running if he didn't trust something downfield. And it's like the coaches in this week during practice told him, stay in the pocket, you're relegated to the pocket, find the open man, throw the ball. And that's not playing to his strengths because he is not there as a pocket passing quarterback. And you see the mess up that they do and you see the mess up that the coaching staff does with a guy like Justin Fields, as talented as he is. You messed him up. All I'm going to say is this: if you see Tyson Bagent at some point get inserted into the team and be benched just like Trubisky was benched, then, ladies and gentlemen, that will tell you all that needs to be said. And that will tell you the coaching staff has given up on Justin Fields. And it's sad because I had belief, I had trust that he can be the guy, but it's not looking like he's the guy right now. Only he can fix it, only he can get better, only he can improve it, but I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, he's not looking good. He's not looking like he's that dude. And we're going to be in this cycle again of drafting a quarterback high in the draft, hoping it works out, and hoping the incompetencies of the Chicago Bears does not fail this quarterback. Chase Claypool, I thought he had a better game today. He clearly played. I'll give him credit where credit's due. He played like a guy who is fighting for a spot on the roster. He had a touchdown catch. He had a nice few blocking plays and a nice few catches. Other than that, it's kind of it. DJ Moore, obviously, he had a much better week. They actually targeted him. I appreciated it. I didn't start him in fantasy this week, but I started Gabe Davis, and he actually got me some good points, actually. So I'm honestly quite fine with starting Gabe Davis this week. Cole Kmet, he didn't really do much of anything. He had one catch. He had another catch, but then he got punched out, and then he gets blown up on a block. which leads me to believe, like, Poles, why did you pay Cole Kmet? And I was a Cole Kmet stan too. I liked Cole Kmet. And for some odd reason, he just isn't physical enough. It's not like he wants to get dirty. He's getting blown up by smaller guys on blocks. I don't know, man. Poles paid that man. He paid him. The running game, I thought it was fine, but to be honest, there actually was no identity of the run. We passed it more than we ran the ball more. And I'm just like, why? I'm like, why are we not establishing any run? Like, let me go look at the statistics for the run game. Like, let me look at the statistics for the run game because it's like, it's bad. Box score. And like I said about Justin Fields, barely getting over 200 yards passing. He had 211 yards passing today, which means he's barely getting to 200 yards passing. In the meantime, I see Baker Mayfield throwing for 317 yards. Easy. Yeah, rushing-wise, the Bears really didn't do anything. 16 carries. 16 carries for 67 yards rushing. Herbert had 7 for 35. Roshan had 4 for 32. Fields had 4 carries for 3 yards, and then Velus Jones had a terrible play call and end around. So what's the point in activating him? So absolutely stupid, absolutely terrible. You know, that's kind of the thing. Defensively, we seems like we have more injuries now. So Eddie Jackson, he gets hurt. I don't know what the injury is. He got hurt. It was a foot injury. So great, another secondary member another piece of the secondary that is gone. That's from your starters. Jaquan Brisker, he was out for the time being. He had apparently an illness, and I'm like, what? He get COVID or something? He ended up playing back in the game, but I'm like, okay, what was the said illness? What was it? And I hope when I watched the press conference, they asked the reporters asked a question. Why was Jaquan Brisker so long out when the diagnosis was an illness? Did you check him to see if he had COVID or was it something else that was going on? You know? Oh, geez. Okay, cool. But anyways, the defense, man, I don't know. Now, the defense was called by Matt Eberflus today. I will say, to an extent, the defense looked somewhat better. They blitzed more. The only problem is, when they blitz more, the secondary cannot hold up long enough. Now, I understand you got some guys back there because of injuries and things like that, but, for example, Tyreek Stevenson, man. He had a rough day today. From the moment the jump started, they just kept picking on Tyreek Stevenson. They literally made him look like a rookie out there. Obviously, you're playing up against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. It ain't going to be easy, but at least you could look a little bit better than what you were looking like. Like, the guy was getting cooked. It didn't matter where Evans or Godwin were, he was getting cooked, and they just single-handedly targeted him. So expect, especially the Kansas City Chiefs, to go at his direction. They're going to go directly at him. Literally and figuratively, they're going to go at him. The Bears defense had 2 chances to take the ball away. Jaquan Brisker, to start the game up, had a dropped interception that could put you in great field position. I understand, even though the Bears scored on the first drive, the Bears would have been in great field position right then and there. You force a fumble, and you don't pick up the fumble. Regardless, even though you send blitzes, that was massively improved, but the guys in the secondary can't hold up. You're still giving up deep third and longs for first downs, or in this case, in this case, a touchdown. And that was one of the plays Stevenson was covering Mike Evans, which for some odd reason, he's still in a backpedal as Evans is literally right there in his face. And because he's still in the back pedal, he can't open up and just run with Evans. Evans just blows right past him. Touchdown, Bears. And whoever the safety was on that, I don't know what the safety was doing. Listen, guys, cover 2 defenses is not a hard defense to run. I said this last week. Like, with how many bust-in coverages the secondary has, I really am questioning how hard is this Eberflus cover 2 scheme or zone defense ran? How hard is it? I'll tell you what the cover 2 defense is, because guess what? I'm a football coach, and one of our plays is the cover 2. Cover 2 is basically where your corners have the flats. So anything between 5 to 10 yards is the flats area. So where the ball is snapped up until where maybe 10 yards from where there. That's the flats. Your corner's got that. So if a receiver is running a go route straight up, the outside receiver, near the one nearest to the sideline, is running a go route, the corner typically passes that on and sees, really truly sees, what is the inside receiver doing, or is there going to be a running back coming out my way? Right? Safety-wise, cover 2, you split the field. One safety gets one half of the field, the other safety gets the other half of the field. Whether it's the free or the strong safety. It doesn't matter. The free or strong safety, the safeties in general, they have deep half of their field. So anything deep their way that invades their territory, they have to cover it. That is their responsibility. And for some reason, the safeties, they act like they have no clue what they're doing. So that's why I always ask the question. Is this cover 2 scheme that difficult to where players can't understand it? Or are players just reacting too damn slow to it? And they're not being very goodly coached on how to read an offense and how to get to a guy. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Is it that hard of a scheme to understand? You're having safeties get torched in the backfield and letting guys wide open. Yes, Jaquan Brisker and Eddie Jackson went down. And you have Elijah Hicks, and I forgot the other. I don't even know who the other safety is, which is funny. Speaking about Elijah Hicks, he had a very piss-poor tackle. And funny enough, the one video a few years back when the Bears drafted Elijah Hicks, I said, he was a 7th-round draft pick. I said, Elijah Hicks, he could be a solid player for the Bears, probably just a special teams, probably practice squad player. He probably won't see enough action because Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker, but hey, maybe if Eddie Jackson at that point in time, who wasn't playing good, doesn't step his play up, I could potentially see Elijah Hicks maybe being a potential replacement for Eddie Jackson in the future. Well, please, I don't think I want to see Elijah Hicks touch the field again because he was equally as bad as the rest of the defense. Because, and funny enough, going back to that, funny enough, one of his family members, I think it was like his uncle or something, he freaking left a comment on the video and critiqued me when I said nothing wrong about Elijah Hicks or anything. I said I was completely respectful. I said, hey, from the eye test, he's a 7th-round draft pick. He could be a backup, a special teams player, or probably, if he doesn't make the roster, a practice squad player. And his family member, I guess his uncle, went at me and got all upset of like, oh, he'll be better than Jaquan Brisker and things like that. Well, how's that looking at? He missed a clear-cut tackle, and he made a pretty piss-poor tackle too. So, Elijah Hicks, he's what I think he is. A typical backup safety that you just put in if the starters are hurt. He's not a starter material. And then 2, he's either a special teams player or a practice squad guy. So, congratulations, Mr. Hicks. You just embarrassed yourself. And I said nothing disrespectfully right there either. And if he wants to have another problem with that, well then too bad. That's what I think of his nephew, I guess. He's just, in my opinion, a backup player. But regardless, the safeties didn't do their job. Or whatever. So that's happening. And then there was times where the Bears had Baker Mayfield right then and there for a sack. And they just did not get any sacks. They're coming in way too hot. They're right there, and somehow Baker Mayfield gets out of it, and they just miss a sack. And I'm just like, you can't let that happen. You can't let that happen. He still misses still miss tacklings and things like that. And yeah, so albeit the defense, they did some things that are better. There's still issues, and it makes no sense because this is how I look at it. When the secondary is actually doing their job to an extent, as long as they're not giving up big pass plays. Jeez Louise. Can my camera stop glitching? Thank you. The front four can't get home and can't get any pressure on the quarterback. And when the quarterback gets pressure, secondary can't hold up. Simple as that. But all right, sure, whatever. All right, whatever. So yes, and then last but not least, this leads me to the gosh darn coaching. Like I said, everything I liked on that first, I loved everything the Bears did on that first offensive drive. And then for some odd reason, the Bears go the complete opposite direction from where I think they're doing. Hold on. Hold on a quick second. Okay, back. Hopefully my camera stops acting up. Anyways, and it's acting up. Okay, after all these technical difficulties, now that I'm back, what was I saying? Yeah, oh yes, Matt Eberflus and his staff. You know, Lou Getsy. First things first, Lou Getsy. If Lou Getsy is not fired first thing in the morning, or hell, he is not left in Tampa Bay, literally right now, nothing is going to change. Nothing. If I'm Ryan Poles, hell, if I'm Kevin Warren, the new team president, you fire Lou Getsy immediately and tell somebody, whoever is the interim offensive coordinator, call the plays that will help this quarterback be successful. But like what Lou Getsy was doing all game today, outside of the first drive, and then outside of this touchdown drive to Chase Claypool, everything else was terrible. That second offensive possession after the block field goal attempt, what was that? End around to Velus Jones Jr.? Really? Really? End around to Velus Jones Jr. Mind you, you run it to the goddamn short side. Is that why we activated Velus Jones Jr.? Is that why we activated Velus Jones Jr.? Because he sure as hell wasn't taking off kickoff returns. He was letting it go into the end zone. So why did we activate Velus Jones Jr. today? We could have activated Equanimeous St. Brown. Maybe he could have helped on those screen passes for blocking. The other play calls in this game were just absolutely mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. And again, not playing to his quarterback strengths. He's not play calling to his quarterback strengths. It feels to me like he told Fields, you need to stay in the dang pocket and be a pocket passing quarterback. Go be Aaron Rodgers. That's basically what he told him to say. He didn't establish any semblance of a run game. He passed it more than I felt like he passed it more than he ran, which he did. He passed it 29 times instead of running. Didn't establish any run game.
Jolly me. Who does that remind you of? Oh, wait, Matt Nagy, because he never established a run game either. Yeah, we're supposed to be some sort of power running team. And then on the last drive, after your defense gets a stop for once, you get the ball back, relegated. Also, I forgot to make a mention too. The refs missed a call defensively on Mike Evans. Whatever. That's besides the point. You get the ball back. So 1st and 5, after a 1st and 5, or after a penalty by the Buccaneers, 1st and 5, you run a running back screen to Khalil Herbert that gets a good gain. It gets called back because for some odd reason, Chase Claypool was blocking way too early before the ball was caught. All right, you get sent back. You're basically back where you started at to start off the final drive. So before the offsides penalty. So, what does this idiotic offensive play caller Luke Getsy decide to do? Well, the running back screen on the second time we ran the first down, it worked and got us a positive gain. Let's try to run it again, but this time we're going to redirect the running back into the inside of the screen. The play is ran. Obviously, Justin Fields gets picked off. Again, blame can go to Justin Fields for making that pass. But even more blame can go to the gosh darn play caller for calling that stupid play. Who in the fuck calls back-to-back running back screens? That is idiotic, that is stupid, and that is flat out predictable. Who runs back-to-back screens? Mind you, back-to-back running screens. We already know, and funny enough, the Bears did do a screen in this game to DJ Moore. They gave it the screen to DJ Moore this time. It wasn't blocked correctly. But still, that didn't stop freaking Luke Getsy from doing screens. He did a lot of screens this game too. But why are you doing back-to-back running back screens? That is flat out predictable. Shaq Barrett basically read that play like a book. Why would you run back-to-back screens on back-to-back play? That is predictable. You're basically conceding the game. It gets picked for a touchdown, game over. What in the hell was that? And mind you, while I was waiting to get my technology issues fixed out, Matt Eberflus did have a freaking issue about did have a comment about that. Matt Eberflus on the screen that went for a pick six. It's great when it works, and when it doesn't, you can criticize. Good old boy network. We don't want to throw our offensive coordinator under the books and criticize him and say, no, that's a bad play call. And I take ownership for allowing that play call to happen. I got to get into Luke, got to tell him we cannot run plays like that again. We cannot be as predictable. What? Is Luke Getsy going to get upset? Is he going to cry, bitch, and moan that your coach threw me under the bus? He blames me for the loss. Yeah, you are part of the loss. But Matt Eberflus wants to keep everybody's spirits high. He wants to be happy. He doesn't want to hold his coaching staff accountable like he didn't do last week. And more importantly, like he didn't do himself last week in terms of holding himself accountable, of having this team prepared to play. We don't want to trash our OC and hold him accountable for a terrible play call. He could have easily went out there and said, Hey, that's on me. I should not given the approval to run that screen pass. And listen, what I will say is that can't happen again. I will have a discussion with Luke Getsy, you know, tomorrow about that. Saying we can't run back to back plays that are similar because it's too predictable. And then I have to tell Justin, hey, he can't throw that ball. That's holding somebody accountable. That's holding somebody accountable. You're not putting Luke Getsy full on blast, but you're saying to your OC, he can't run back to back plays the same play. That's predictable. That's like running back to back 4 verticals on Madden. Eventually, you're gonna make an adjustment and you're gonna play and you're gonna freaking pick it off the next play. Like, geez Louise. Way too predictable. Luke Getsy needs to go. Luke Getsy needs to go. He has no clue of what he's doing. Luke Getsy. I can't believe I'm saying this. I hated Matt Nagy. You go back to any of my videos talking about Matt Nagy, I hated Matt Nagy with a burning passion. Luke Getsy's worse than Matt Nagy. Luke Getsy is a worse play caller than Matt Nagy ever was under the Bears. Matt Nagy had these stupid play calls and everything, but hell, it wasn't as bad as what I'm seeing now. None of these play calls make absolutely no sense half the time. This is worse than Matt Nagy. This is worse than Matt Nagy. And I can't believe I'm even saying this. This situation right now with the Bears is worse than Matt Nagy. And I can't believe this coaching staff, this new regime, made it even worse than what it was a few years back. Matt Nagy didn't take accountability for his staff or anything, or himself. Matt Eberflus is doing the exact same thing, but even freaking worse. He's going out there making comments like, we made some improvements in some areas. But, you have to go back and look at the tape to see what you're talking about. And then always preaching the accountability and holding players accountable and holding themselves accountable. The wide receiver coach last week had an interview. And he was more accountable. He was not the most accountable coach on the staff that came on and said words to the press. Eberflus didn't say anything Tyke Tolbert was doing. Tyke Tolbert held his job, and he literally held himself accountable, saying, I got to do a better job of getting these players ready to play, getting these players prepped. He held himself accountable. I don't see Matt Eberflus doing that. I don't see Luke Getsy holding himself accountable. Hopefully, Alan Williams is all good, but I didn't see Alan Williams holding himself accountable either. And Eberflus was calling defense today. The defense, this same exact defense he called, let Baker Mayfield look like a dang all-pro quarterback. With the mini coverage bust, the fact that your guys ain't tackling, missing sacks, can't force turnovers. That's you. That's you. That's your defense. If I'm the Bears, if I'm Ryan Poles, or if I've given the approval, or Kevin Warren especially, you fire and show Luke Getsy the door immediately. Immediately. You show him the door, you don't let him go back. Say, go take your ass back to Green Bay. Go back to Daddy Matt LaFleur. Because you weren't calling plays. You weren't calling plays. You just watch Aaron Rodgers do, and then you watch Matt LaFleur call the plays. Because we all know in Green Bay, Matt LaFleur's the one calling the plays. Not Nathaniel Hackett, who is the freaking OC in New York, who was that coach of the freaking Broncos. It wasn't Luke Getsy calling the plays. Luke Getsy completely goes the opposite direction. And he's trying to turn Justin Fields into Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, this is worse than Matt Nagy. And I can't believe I can't believe you have me admitted to this point. This has gotten worse than Matt Nagy. Ladies and gentlemen, as I end off this video so I can go eat my lunch. If the necessary moves are not made, the Bears are going to be fucked. They are going to be fucked for a decade, maybe more. If not the rest of the time, rest of the organization's lifespan. They can't do anything right. They can't make the proper hires right. They can't they can't get the quarterback right. They can't get the coaches right. Nothing's right. I'll say this, there was a lot of drama at Hallis Hall this past week. I'm going to be very intrigued to hear the rumblings about what's going on in Hallis Hall now. Because this is one of these games, to be honest, it was a must win. You had to get this win for your players to feel good. I don't know how you're going to, now you're 0-2, going to Kansas City, who's going to have Chris Jones back already, who's already got Travis Kelce back already. And you saw how badly Stevenson was picked on. Mahomes is going to have a field day. He might be counting the picks again like he did 2-3 seasons ago. The only difference is the quarterback ain't going to be Mitch Trubisky. It's going to be Justin Fields. God. I feel really bad for that girl Justin Fields invited to go to the Chiefs game. She's going to go watch an embarrassment. If you don't know, Justin Fields invited this one girl he helped out who was in the hospital and everything for this one, like I forgot, like this disease or something she was going through. He invited her to go watch the Bears in Arrowhead. First things first, why did you not ask her to go to a game in Chicago? Why are you making her go out on the road? Most importantly, why are you making her go watch the Bears versus the Chiefs? Like the Bears have any chance at beating the Chiefs, please. But like I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't getting good. You have a quarterback where fans are already now, seemingly enough, starting to give up on him. And they're saying he ain't the guy. You got me. I'm having my doubts. I'm being honest. I know I said early in the video he is not the guy probably, but I'm just having my doubts. He ain't looking like it. And it's not good. And only he can fix it, and only he can turn around. And it's based on his play. He has 15, 16 weeks to get this fixed now. 15 weeks, I think, to get it fixed and change it around. If he doesn't improve in 15 weeks and he doesn't get better as the weeks go on, the Bears are going to be with draft picks. Drafting a quarterback. And I know Caleb Williams said rumors that he may go back to USC if the situation ain't right. I don't blame him if the Bears are up and he's like, yeah. The Bears are like the first pick. And he's like, I'm pulling out. Because remember, guys, if the Carolina Panthers are equally as bad, seemingly enough, it looks like the Bears more than likely will probably have back-to-back picks if the Panthers are bad. Like, holy hell, man. It is bad. And I don't know what to do to fix it. It's terrible. And listen, I'll just say this. If the Bears do go in a different direction where they're just gonna be like, you know what? We just didn't make it work with Fields. We ruined him sadly. Let's get another quarterback. You cannot have this same coaching staff get their hands on a new quarterback they draft. I don't care if, well, Fields was never their guy coming into this situation. I don't care. You have to fire Eberflus and his staff, get him out of Chicago, get a whole new staff, preferably an offensive-minded staff. You draft the quarterback that they want. And you go on from there. And you hope that it all works out in the end. That will be something different. Because remember, this is a very important big year. Poles, too. He has to look at it from his aspect. These coaches are not making my signings look good, and they're not doing anything. And two, also, Poles has made some signings that have not looked good. Like I said, Cole Kmet, he paid Cole Kmet. He gave him an extension. He ain't looked good this season. So you can make question marks that maybe Poles potentially could lose his job as well after this season too. Kevin Warren could just be like, well, Ryan Poles was never my GM. I came into this situation. And guess what? Kevin Warren could straight up fire Poles and Eberflus and say, I want my GM. I want my head coach to lead the team. Because these guys weren't mine. And if they do that mid-season, or they do it end of the season, which if they do it mid-season, if they fire Matt Eberflus mid-season, they'll be completely different than what the Bears have done. Because remember, the Bears have never fired a head coach during the course of a season. Which, listen, if I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if it gets worse and the Bears don't have a win by like week 7, week 8, week 9, you got to fire Eberflus. Nobody's going to listen to Eberflus and this hits principles shit. You got to let him go. Fire him. He can't stay. Brian Poles, he might get the benefit of the doubt. He might get at least one more coaching decision. But honestly, I would not be surprised if he ends up getting canned too. Because you can make the argument, well, I understand the point that he's trying to make, but geez Louise. You're paying the wrong guys. Cole Kmet's not stepping up. Cole Kmet hasn't had a breakout game in the 2 games against the Packers and this game where you can say, okay, now I see why the Bears paid him. He had the Larry Ogunjobi deal fall through last season. He didn't know he was going into this hurt. Yeah, he made some improvements to the defense and offensive line, but was it really groundbreaking? No. The Bears had a need at center. He didn't take a center in the draft. When you have an offensive tackle right there in free agency, even though we got Darnell Wright, and I like the pick, Braxton Jones looked like he's regressing. And you had confidence in a 5th-round draft pick from a smaller school to be your left tackle of the future. That has some concerns to be questioning. You drafted Bayless Jones, who hasn't done jack diddly squat and has been a complete bust. When are we going to start looking at polls and saying, hey, man, you exactly haven't done what you said you're going to do. You've made some solid decisions, some solid moves, but if you did hire the coach, well, that's a failure. You did draft some players like a freaking Bayless Jones, who's a bust, who you continue to give opportunities to. You don't find ways to go out there and spend the money on premier pass rushers, premier defensive linemen, premier offensive tackles right there. You got Orlando Brown Jr. right there on the market. Nah, we're not going to pay for him. I understand he got a little bit of an overpay from the Bengals, but you got to shore up your offensive line. You don't get a legit center. So Ryan Poles can get some blame for this too. You can make the case. If you weren't in on Fields, why did you just trade the 1st-round pick? And why didn't you just trade Fields away and take either Stroud or Bryce Young? Because like I said with Fields, they're play calling as if they don't trust him. So, listen. If Fields ain't the guy and he doesn't work out and he doesn't get better and they go to draft another quarterback, Matt Eberflus and his staff have to be out the building. Because if you keep Matt Eberflus and his staff in, they draft a new quarterback, they do what they can, but they lose their job in a year or two after they draft the quarterback they drafted, or they draft the quarterback, whether it's Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jador Sanders, I don't care. They get fired the following season if it's another bust of a season. You get a new staff in who comes in, they have to intake whoever is the quarterback or the young rookie quarterback that time when it's not their guy that they would want to draft. It's just a leftover from what they had from the last regime. It's the constant cycle. And that's been going on the past 4 to 5, 6 years. Remember, the Bears drafted Mitch Trubisky under John Fox. He gets fired after Trubisky's rookie season. They bring on Matt Nagy. He play calls like he doesn't like frickin' Mitch Trubisky. Boom. Mitch Trubisky gets most of the blame and the scapegoating for that. He gets booted. Coaching staff sticks around. They have a chance to take Justin Fields. Year later, after Fields' rookie season, they're gone. And lo and behold, Eberflus and his staff come in. You do this again the following season where you let Fields go somewhere, you trade him somewhere else, and you make him move on, right? And he goes somewhere better. But you keep the coaching staff intact. You freaking take a quarterback. And guess what? This coaching staff is fired next season, and you get a new season with it's a constant repeat. And it's not going to work. So if Fields does not work out, the Bears have to fire Matt Eberflus. I'm already convinced Matt Eberflus ain't the guy, ain't the coach for this team. You need to let him go. Fire him at some point during the season or after the season's over. Hire a new guy, predominantly offensively minded, especially since you might take a quarterback, unless they really have complete belief I can fix Fields. But at that point, what chances are you going to take? Especially when you got a generational talent like a Caleb Williams on the board. You freaking do that. You fire the staff. You hire an offensive-minded staff. You drop the quarterback that they think is good. You probably trade Fields away somewhere to where maybe he's a backup to somebody and he can learn. And then in maybe a few years, he can get actual playing time. And then maybe he looks better. Otherwise, we'll see. But other than that, like, I don't know. It's just bad. It's bad all around. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know. This is terrible. The Bears are in a bad situation, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be going 0-3. We're going 0-3. We're going to be headed back to Soldier Field 0-3 playing the Denver Broncos, who are not a good team, really. But then again, they got Sean Payton, so you could run yourself going 0-4. 0-4 potentially. Like, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Like, if you look at the schedule, you play the Chiefs. That's a loss. You then play the Broncos at home. That's probably going to be a loss. Then you play the Commanders, then the Vikings, but then you play the Raiders at home. So let's be honest. We could be 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, 0-6. We could be 0-6 by the time we play the Raiders. Potentially 0-6 by the time we play the Raiders. And by then, you'll have lost like at least a good chunk of games in a row. Remind you, they have not won a game since, I think, October or September of last season. Last year. They haven't won a game yet. They're on like a 12 or 13, maybe, I think, 14-game losing streak. I think it's 12-game losing streak. They're on a 12-game losing streak now. That's not good. That's not a good look on your coaching staff. If you're on a massive losing streak, that's not a good look. Whatever. I'm done with this bullshit. That is the Chicago Bears. I'm done with this video. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the ineptitude of the Chicago Bears. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Chicago Bears content. Again, I'll see if I can hook up with my Uncle Daryl to see if we can do another like fallout video of this loss, where he gives his take on the loss and his perspective of what happened in this game and everything. And, but the future of the Bears, man, it's not good. It's not looking good, man. The future of the Bears is not looking good. And, this fan base has been loyal to this team for a fall, and the fact that this team shows it no look back. Again, I'm not saying like I would jump ship to another team, but if I saw Bears fans just leaving, going being fans of other teams, I wouldn't be shocked because it's like, well, at least they're fucking winning. But It is what it is. I bleed blue and orange. I always will till the end of my life. It just needs to be better. And I highly doubt it's going to get better. So it sounds like the coaching staff doesn't take the necessary accountability to make this thing better. And that's going to suck. But hey, I'm just watching. And there's nothing I can do about it. I wish I could go into Hallis Hall, make the changes that need to be made. But unless I get into a position of power in that building where it works there and I'm able to change everything up in there, hey, I would. But just like me and many other Bears fans, we can't do nothing about it. We just have to sit back, watch as we painfully watch it, mind you, and just have the hope that someday it will just improve and get better. Right now, it's not. It's getting worse. And right now at this point, it's lower than what Matt Nagy ever got us to. At least with Matt Nagy, we made 2 playoff appearances. I didn't like how we got into the playoffs, especially the second time, but at least under Nagy, we made the playoffs. Under Nagy, we made the playoffs, and we looked somewhat stupid. Even though it looked bad, we were competitively bad. This just looks like a joke. But, that's the thing. That is the thing. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts. Hit the subscribe button. Catch you guys either on a Fallout video or next week post game recap against the Kansas City Chiefs. Till then, guys, peace.